Right, so as we go by, so we're going to play the raw part of it first. Give me the sleigh bells and that stuff for just a second, and we're going to probably stop and go back, just so you get an idea. This is kind of what we started with. There's no heavy guitars, no drums. It's kind of just with this, and I was like, where's the beef? To me, I was like, where's the meat? There was no meat to it. So what I did was I added this. Play the drum track with it, please. I hate those bells. So right now, gave it that instant heavy metal. Okay? Stop. So then the next thing that had to come was I was like, well, all right, we got that. Actually, what I want to do before I demonstrate the guitar thing with you real quick, just play that a little longer on the strings in there. Because this is, I was working with these guys from the New York Philharmonic Orchestra who are all like 60, 70 years old and have been playing instruments for like, 100 years. And I don't know how to read music, so Paul goes, well, can you go out there and show them what we want to do with the cellos? And I was like, all right. So I walk out there and there's like 8 guys around me. They're all like 70 years old and they're kind of stuffy, like kind of, they're all, and they look at me with the long hair and I'm like, all right guys, here's the keyboard. I'm going to show you guys what to do. He goes, where's the score? I was like, I don't know, Knicks 22, Boston 16. No, he's the score, what are we playing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to show you what we play, and this guy's going to tell you, jot it down because I can't write music or read. Instantly I got all the faces, they were like, who is this guy? So I was like, well, we want you 4 guys to go, we want you guys to go. Then I want you guys to go. And then I want you guys to go. And they're like, well, that's not what we would do. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, that's not proper orchestrating. We would do this. We would go. I don't want that. So after quite a few arguments, they finally did. And we went back and listened to it inside, all these old guys. They turned around, and I was like public enemy number 1. I became like the guy on their shoulder, like, yeah, they were like, this is really good, we like this. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. So, play that on now with the strings and stuff. So the other thing that was missing was no power guitars. So to me, it was like, got to make this rock contemporary, we need power guitars. So we then added 3 guitar parts. Matt's going to demonstrate. The first part we added was just an open chord. So just play and just demonstrate with it, as long as you don't forget it. It's just a big open E chord. Okay, so that was part 1 that we added. Stop. So then on top of that, we needed a counter melody. So we have just play the open E for a second. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we added that as the second part. Then the third part was where we actually did the Jon Oliva metal pick and chunk. And when you put that all together, just play the whole thing. Let's just play through. Have him do what? He's going to? But what were you just doing? Never mind. I'll just follow along. But it's just a short little thing, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, and then we can move on to bigger, faster things. Take that hat off right now.
Never happened in your lifetime.
that's how we did it. It was as simple as that, really. It really wasn't. It was really a pain in the ass, but it was a lot of fun. And you know, the thing is about that whole TSO thing is like working with Paul is a very, very intense thing to do because the man is not of this planet. He doesn't do drugs, but I would swear he was on cocaine all the time because he has so much, and he has the energy of like a 10-year-old. And he is like mentally wears you out just to, for some reason, I can understand him because he does a lot of singing parts where he's like, I want you to go, no, 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 and the other guys are like, what note is, but for some reason I go, you mean, God damn it, work. It's been a long day. You know, like, you know. He'll hum something like that, and you have to be able to interpret it. He's also really good at coming up with counter melodies. I gave it the office. Really, I did. But one quick story for that before we move on is there's one song on that record that when I originally wrote it, it was and I had it going. These days are fun to bring and morning nights to carry on. And in the west it's all song. That's what I had. I played it for Paul and he's like, John? He always starts with that. First he calls me Bob, Frank, Adam, Jeff, John. I'm like, John, 86. Remember, 86. Yeah. So then I started playing, he came up with the melody line, and I think it was better than what I had. It was, so tell me Christmas, how we rise, more today than any other day. Perhaps it's only in our minds. Maybe we were meant to be. So I was like, wow, man. I had to like, you know, I had to have him bribe me. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, we'll use your melody. You give me $1,000. I'm only kidding. It was $2,000 actually. But and that's how we did that. So the TSO thing, just to put the thing, it's a very intense thing. It's quite amazing what's happened. I mean, you know, the thing sells 80,000 Cleveland, Ohio last year. In 2 days, we played 4 sold-out shows in 22,000 seat place, and I'm just looking around going like,
You went to Youngstown first. We were at the first show.
were you? I wasn't there. Are you from Cleveland? Well, I mean, Cleveland, you guys, these guys, 80,000 people. I'm like, it took me like 10 years to play in front of 80,000 people with Savatage. It was like 2 days. It's like,
It's a travesty.
it's a travesty. It's like, I like you. What's your name? You came here from Cleveland?
Yeah.
Why? For this?
For this.
Oh, you're nuts. You're nuts. You're nuttier than I am. But anyway, so we got through with that. So just to sum up that thing, Chris, before he passed away, was working on some instrumental stuff. Chris was very instrumental in the starting of TSO because he convinced Paul that he was wanting to do a solo record that was all instrumentals with orchestra. It was really Chris's idea at first, and unfortunately we lost him, and it just kind of, but if he was alive today, he would be the guitar player. No offense against Al or anybody, because those guys are brilliant musicians and they're great, but even they'd tell you, you know, he was a special talent, so yeah, he was special. So what we'll do is, let's do Chris's song. When Chris passed away, everything got screwed up. Paul and I wrote a song for him called Alone You Breathe. So, I'm going to try to do this. I really wish I had more Diet Coke, Dave. Hint. It's gone? You drank all my Diet Coke? I swear you will perish! So anyway, I don't have any more Diet Coke. This thing is really annoying. We're gonna do Chris's song. This is a tough one for me to do, but it's a beautiful song. I think it's a good way to take us out of this little segment of fun and frolic. And it's called Long to Breathe, and it goes something like this. Maestro.